Hi, welcome to Daydreams of Quilts on YouTube. Today we are making another free block pattern that you can download from my blog. I'll put the link in the description below, but we're making this multi-flavored popsicle block. So head to the blog, download your pattern, and get your pieces all cut out. You're going to need 4 flavor patterns and then the background fabric and a popsicle stick fabric. And then we're just going to sew the 4 flavors together and sew the popsicle stick to the background. But first we're going to just trace a diagonal line across the back of our 1.5 inch background squares to make our corner square triangles. And then we'll head over to the sewing machine. So we're going to sew our popsicle flavored strips together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And so I'm just going to get those all sewn here. And I usually just stack them up in the order that I'm going to sew them when I take them over to the sewing machine. Okay, and then we'll just press the seam in one direction on that piece. Next, we're going to sew the popsicle stick in between the 2 pieces of background fabric. And we'll press those seams in one direction as well. So I've pressed the seams all in one direction from top to bottom and from right to left on the popsicle stick. And now we're just going to sew the popsicle stick to the bottom of the flavor block with a 1/4 inch seam. And we'll press that seam afterwards. But first we're just going to put our corner squares up in the top corners and sew on that pencil line that we marked on them when we were starting the block. So we're just going to sew directly on top of the line that we drew from corner to corner. And the same with the other corner. And this is just going to round off the top of our popsicle. So I've pressed that seam up towards the flavors from the popsicle stick, and I'm going to just trim off the excess fabric on the sides of that bottom piece. There's just like maybe 1/8 of an inch overhang just to give us a little bit of wiggle room. So we'll just trim off the excess so that it's even with the rest of the block. And then we'll put the 1/4 inch line of our clear ruler right on the stitch line in those top corners. And we'll trim a 1/4 inch away from that stitch line on each corner. And then we'll just flip those corners out and press the seam allowance towards the corners. And here is our finished quilt block with the seams pressed out towards the corners on those top 2 corners. And there's our finished popsicle block ready to go into our quilt top. Thanks for sewing along with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please leave me a like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next frozen treat block coming out next week.